Marcus had been out of work for 2 months, a torn rotator cuff on a loading dock in Wilmington, North Carolina, and his workers' comp claim was approved. Then a workers' comp private investigator showed up, and Marcus never saw it coming. For 3 weeks, someone was watching his house, documenting his movements, photographed him carrying boxes from his truck to his garage. When the insurance company called with those photos, his doctor's notes about his limitations suddenly didn't matter. I'm Ken King, and I'm going to tell you exactly what these investigators are looking for so you can protect your claim. Who hires fraud investigators in workers' comp cases? The insurance company hires them, full stop. Not your employer, not the North Carolina Industrial Commission, and not some neutral third party. The insurance carrier who is responsible for paying your benefits hires private investigators, specifically to find evidence that they can use to deny your claim, cut your benefits, or pressure you into a low settlement. These are not random checks. This is a deliberate strategy. Insurance companies have specialized vendor relationships with surveillance firms that operate in North Carolina. These firms know workers' comp law. They know what kind of footage makes a difference at hearings. They know how to document what they find in a way that will look compelling to a deputy commissioner. I've sat across the table from insurance adjusters who've used PI reports to get a client's case. It happens more often than most workers realize. And here's what I've seen. The workers who get hurt the worst by the surveillance didn't even know it was happening. This is the part that surprises most people. You assume investigators show up after something happens. They don't. They'll often start surveillance before you even know the insurance company is looking at your claim closely. Here's the pattern I've seen in North Carolina cases. The adjuster reviews your file, something catches their eye, maybe you had a prior injury, maybe your restrictions seem inconsistent to them. Maybe the value of your claim got high enough to justify the cost of surveillance. At that point, they pick up the phone and authorize a PI to start watching you. That can happen within weeks of your injury. It can happen while you're still in the acute phase of treatment. It can happen right before a scheduled independent medical examination when the insurance company is building its file on you. The trigger was almost never a specific event on your end. The trigger is the insurance company's calculation of risk. When your claim starts costing them money, they start watching you. What they're looking for? Let me break this into 3 categories because investigators are looking for 3 different types of inconsistency. The first is physical activity that contradicts your restrictions. If your doctor says you cannot lift more than 10 pounds and a PI films you loading bags of mulch into a pickup truck, that footage goes directly into a report that says you misrepresented your condition. They're not looking to catch you doing something dramatic. They are looking for ordinary daily activities, getting in and out of a car without visible pain, reaching overhead to grab something from a shelf, working at a pace your doctor wouldn't expect. Anything that looks inconsistent with what you've told the insurance company about your limitations. The second is social media. I'm going to say this plainly. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and every other platform you're on is an open surveillance feed for the insurance company. You don't have to be public. They can see what your friends share. They can see tagged photos. They can see check-ins at locations. I had a client, a roofer from outside Jacksonville, who was out on workers' comp for a knee injury. His brother posted a photo of them fishing. Nothing dramatic, just 2 men standing on the pier holding rods. That photo ended up in a PI report with a note that the client appeared to be standing without visible limitation and engaged in recreational activity. It almost cost him his settlement. Have that conversation with your family. Have it now, before something gets posted that you can't take back. Has something like this happened to someone you know? Tell me in the comments below. I want to know what people are seeing out there. I'm going to come back to exactly how to protect yourself in a few minutes, but I want to address one more category first. The third is daily routine inconsistencies. If you tell the adjuster you barely leave the house and a PI documents you driving to the grocery store, the gym parking lot, a friend's house across town, and a hardware store in the same week, that pattern of activity becomes part of their case that your restrictions are exaggerated. They're not just looking at individual moments, they're building a picture of your daily life and comparing it to the limitations you've reported. Issues come up about what they cannot do legally. There are all limits. Investigators operating in North Carolina cannot trespass on your private property to film you. They cannot come into your backyard, enter your home, or set up cameras inside your residence. What happens in public, however, is fair game. And if you're visible from a lawful public place like a sidewalk or street, they may be able to record what they can see, even if you're technically on your own property. They cannot record your private conversations in ways that violate North Carolina law. North Carolina is a one-party consent state under general statutes, which means they generally cannot intercept a private call. As for your medical records, the insurance company can and will review the medical records that are relevant to your workers' comp claim. North Carolina law allows the parties reasonable access to relevant medical information, but there are limits and rules about what's relevant and how it can be obtained. Here's what's important to understand. Within those limits, they have a lot of latitude. Public spaces between parking lots, sidewalks, parking lots, and any way we might go as part of your daily life. If you're in view of a public road, they can film you. Knowing the limits is useful, but don't let "here's what they can't do" lull you into thinking you're protected everywhere you go. What happens when the report gets filed? The PI report doesn't automatically end your claim, but it creates a problem you now have to solve. Here's what I've seen happen in North Carolina workers' comp cases. The insurance company gets a surveillance report with footage or photos they believe shows inconsistency. They share that report with their medical expert, the doctor that they've hired to review your file. The doctor writes an opinion that the footage is inconsistent with your claim limitations and that you appear capable of more activity than you've reported. Now the adjuster has a PI report and a medical opinion that both point in the same direction. At that point, the insurance company either tries to cut your benefits directly or they enter in settlement negotiations with that report as leverage. They offer you less money because they believe they have evidence to fight you in court. If it goes to a hearing before a deputy commissioner at the Industrial Commission, the PI and their report can be introduced as evidence. Your treating physician's documentation of your limitations is then a credibility contest with that footage. None of this is inevitable. I've gone into hearings against PI reports and won. The footage gets context. Good days don't prove real injuries. Medical records and a competent attorney can present the full picture. But the time to prepare for that possibility is before the report exists, not after. How do you protect yourself without being paranoid? I don't want you walking out of this video afraid to leave your house. That is not the goal. The goal is to be smart. Here's what I tell every client in North Carolina who is on workers' comp. Live your restrictions every day, not just when you know someone might be watching. The workers who get in trouble are the ones who follow their limitations at doctor's appointments but take shortcuts at home or in public. Your restrictions are not a performance, they are a medical reality. Treat them that way every day. Audit your social media presence and have a conversation with your family and close friends. Ask them not to post photos of you while your claim is active. Tell them this is not paranoia, it is legal protection. One well-meaning post from a family member can undo months of treatment documentation. Tell your attorney immediately if you notice something unusual. A vehicle parked outside your house for multiple days. Someone on foot who seems to be watching you. A phone call from someone you don't recognize asking unusual questions about your daily schedule. These are warning signs. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to tell your attorney so it goes into the record. Document your own activity. If you do something that might look bad out of context, note it. You drove to the pharmacy. You had a good day and walked your dog around the block. Keep a daily log. Your attorney can use that log to provide context if a PI report turns into something ordinary into something that looks suspicious. Finally, if you see a PI and you're certain that's what they are, don't approach them. Don't try to block their camera. That footage ends up in their report too, and it doesn't help your case. Note the date, time, vehicle description, or location. Call your attorney. Let it be handled properly. Here's what I've seen happen when workers take this seriously. The insurance company gets footage, the PI report showing a claimant living within the restrictions, and the report goes nowhere. The surveillance was expensive for the insurance company and produced nothing they can use. When you know what they're looking for, you can make sure what they find tells the right story. If you haven't seen my video on what not to say to the workers' comp adjuster, that's your next watch. Same mindset, same protection. The link is in the description. If your claim is being challenged right now, call us. KingLawFirm.com.